Hey guys, it's Patricia from TarantulaHeaven.com. We have Miss Spidey here who is moving around, which is so exciting because I love it when you guys get to see her moving around. This is her new enclosure. We finally did it up for the summer and it looks like she might go into her dome, which will be very cute. That'll be the first time I see her go in the dome. If you hear something in the background, it's probably my cat Hiss Hiss. She's no longer a kitten, but she certainly acts like one. And she's obsessed with paper, so she's probably gonna play with a bunch of crinkly paper in the background. Sorry about that. Anyway, so today I wanted to make a video about what to do if a tarantula bites your cat or dog. I made a video last Tarantula Tuesday about a study saying that tarantula bites have actually killed dogs. This was in Australia, so it can happen in certain parts of the world where there are very venomous tarantulas. I wanted to make this because a lot of us do have pets other than tarantulas. A lot of us are dog and cat owners or other pets as well, maybe bunnies, small things that might even actually be at very high risk of a lethal tarantula bite. So I wanted to make this video. First, I think the biggest thing is how do you even spot a bite on your pet? Because it's not like humans where we don't really have tons of fur. We can kind of see if something's bitten us. And with them, it's very different. So Dr. Michael Herman, who is a veterinarian at Pet Medical Center of Vero Beach, said it's pretty easy to spot insect and spider bites on humans, but pet fur makes it difficult. He says to kind of look for swollen areas and redness or lumps if you can find them. Areas like less fur, such as noses and ear flaps, are more likely to receive bites, but they could occur anywhere. He said bites on the body are hard to see under fur, so they often become infected before spotted. So what you might do is actually look to the pet's behavior versus their physical attributes. Tarantula venom does cause pain at the bitten area. It can also cause oral pain. For example, if a dog bites down or if a cat bites down on the tarantula, either in self-defense or because it's curious. So that'll do a bunch of things, right? So ingesting a tarantula's urticating hairs might cause, well, one, be very painful and uncomfortable, but it might cause the dog to drool or vomit. There will also be a lot of pain, possibly illness. In North America, at least, it seems like tarantula bites typically don't cause lasting damage. Now in Australia, those dogs actually passed away, but that's not a typical response. I think that in a country where there's a ton of New World tarantulas and tarantulas who maybe aren't as venomous as ones in Australia, the animal, if it's like the size of a dog, will usually live. I'm not sure if that's true for an animal who's like the size of a bunny or something like that, or maybe like a gerbil. We know that tarantula venom can kill mice, or at least paralyze them enough so that a tarantula can consume the animal. So I think size has a lot to do with it. So if you do suspect that your dog or cat has been bitten by a tarantula, either because maybe they got curious and got into the enclosure, or maybe your tarantula got out and was roaming around the house and your dog just kind of stumbled upon them, you do want to look for like the drooling, the vomiting, signs that maybe there's any oral issues. Dogs will probably yelp a little bit or whine if they've been bitten by a tarantula. They might also become increasingly anxious or excited. I think dogs typically will try to excessively lick the wound or anywhere that's irritated. Dr. Herman also says look for what he calls drunk walking, which is basically, I imagine, a very uncoordinated walk for a dog because bites do impact that. He said, if your dog seems to be in pain, distress, or just not acting like himself, there's probably a reason. And of course, the symptoms depend on the type of spider, the size of it, how strong the venom is, how much venom was actually released when bitten. Sometimes there are these things called dry bites where there's a bite but no venom. But Dr. Herman does list the following things as symptoms of spider bites on dogs. So fever, weakness, muscle or joint pain, seizures, so that's something really concerning, swelling, redness, pus, a weak pulse, that's also very concerning, an increased heart rate, lethargy, trouble walking or standing, vomiting, drooling, or diarrhea. And a lot of these things, like the vomiting and stuff like that, those are like basic dog illness things, but the seizures and the swelling and stuff like that, increased heart rate, I think that's very specific to the tarantula bite. So what do you do if your dog is bitten by a spider? And I know I'm saying dog, but I also mean cat. So Dr. Herman says, stay calm. I think this is so important. Stay calm for the sake of your animal. He says, call your veterinarian right away and seek advice. If it's after hours, call the emergency clinic. If you see the spider that bit your dog, try to put it in a jar for identification by a veterinarian, and tell your dog sitter to do the same if this happens while a dog sitter's there. That helps us know what we're dealing with. I think that's a very important part, because that would definitely help a vet know how serious this is. If your pet is bitten by a tarantula, the first step is to clean the bite area with soap and water. This helps to prevent infection. You can also apply a cold compress after that. So that would be like an ice pack wrapped in a cloth. And that would reduce swelling and pain. So you want to apply that for about 10 to 15 minutes at a time, and then take breaks and keep doing that. You should definitely be seeking vet advice. So contact your vet or emergency vet clinic immediately, because they can provide specific guidance based on what type of tarantula did the bite, if you know. And they'll also be able to assess how severe the bite is in relation to your pet's health. If you can, try to capture that spider, because identification is important. This will also help your vet determine the best course of treatment for your animal. If you can't capture it, take a picture of it. Some vets will be able to identify it just from that. And then you want to manage the pain and the symptoms for your pet. So your vet might recommend over-the-counter pain meds like aspirin, Tylenol, something like that, or antihistamines, depending on what the symptoms are. You want to prevent further irritation, so don't let your dog scratch or lick the bite area. This could increase the risk of infection and also make the irritation worse. And then you want to observe for any signs of an allergic reaction, so that's really important. Just like humans, some animals might have an allergic reaction to a tarantula bite. And if you notice any signs of a severe allergic reaction, such as difficulty breathing, excessive swelling, or vomiting, you want to seek emergency vet attention. And so those are just some pointers. I hope that none of us have pets that get bitten by our tarantula, because likely this situation scenario would be dangerous for both the tarantula and the pet. And I hope none of us are ever put in that position. But I know that every now and then things happen, and it's good to just know what to do. So it seems like you want to really assess what happened, look for those signs, those physical attributes in the animal. Then you want to seek veterinarian attention and work on cleaning the wound and managing pain. So good things to know. These are better to know now versus when you actually are in this situation. So you don't want to be doing like a last minute Google on what to do. So I do hope you truly never get in this scenario, but if you do, I hope this was helpful. But anyway, Spidey is not really moving around much, but I hope you enjoyed just looking at her. And I will see you in 2 weeks for Tarantula Tuesday. Take care, guys. Bye.